Hello everybody. Hey, I thought I'd turn the camera on for just a moment and share with you a little bit about what my plans are. This relates more to what's happening, what I do over at Softypapa. And normally it's the start of the hiking season. Although I hike throughout the year, this is the best time. And this now through September will be just the best time of all. I can't wait for the rainy season to start when the leeches come out and all the life just starts manifesting itself. The forest starts reaching out and grabbing you with living limbs and arms. Anyway, normally when I go on my outings, I go about, I have a few choice areas, although the wilderness area here is vast. I have a few choice areas that I really enjoy. Each of them is about 40 minutes to an hour drive away. This year I've been, just out of curiosity, I've been experimenting with places closer to home. Some of these places I can get to within an hour and a half by bicycle and hiking. Normally I don't go close to home because I don't like hearing the sounds of people. I don't like seeing people in the wilderness, and I don't like having any signs of humanity. I really like being in remote spots. And so, when you're out there and you can hear vehicles or even airplanes, it's a distraction from the pure experience of the wilderness. Anyway, I've been experimenting with this one area that's relatively close, and I have found a canyon there in a rather inaccessible area. It takes about an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours to get up there, and it's near the end of a dead-end farm road. Rare to see anybody up there, and I have found this place, this one valley that rivals anything I found in the deeper wilderness. It is extraordinarily, doesn't count as a valley. This is a gorge. This is a fierce and awesome gorge. Fierce in terms of its intimidating presence. What makes this, the mountains here are steep. If you've ever looked on Google Earth or Google Map of this part of Japan, you'll see that the mountains are precipitous. If you've watched me climb in some of my things, you need 4 limbs to get up in some places. But this one valley is, its hallmark is a vertical or near vertical, but mostly, really, truly sheer drops. It would be a foreboding thing to come down the opposite side of the valley that I'm approaching from, because you could come down on a relatively a manageable slope and find yourself gazing over a sheer drop, several hundred feet at least. And what's most intriguing is that from a distance, twice now, I've spotted this utterly immense waterfall. It's dry now. Well, it's not dry, it's wet, but it's not the rainy season. We've had very little rain. There's not a lot of water, but I know once the rainy season starts, that waterfall is going to be spectacular. And in a previous video, I overestimated the size of about 500 to 800 feet. I don't know what I was thinking. I found the waterfall again. I went back to check it out, and I had a better view of it this time. And I could see that although it appeared to be that large, it was in fact broken in several spots by non-sheer drops. And so it's, it kind of drops down and then kind of goes off and then drops down again. So probably the bottommost part that is indeed sheer is probably 300 feet plus. Still a huge drop in this area. And I'm trying to scope out a way to get to it. Like I said, the cliff, the valley all around it is sheer rocks. On the far side, I'm standing on this side looking across, and I'm looking at the valley on the other side, and the slope comes down from the opposite peak and then drops off into a sheer drop. Now I don't know what's below me. I'm looking from a high level on the opposite side of the gorge, and I don't know what's below me, if it's sheer cliffs or not. So I've got 3 options to get there, and I tried one of them last weekend and didn't get very far. The first option was to try and approach the waterfall from the valley below. Now, the problem with that kind of activity in this part of Japan is that these gorges here are filled with waterfalls all along the way, and every waterfall requires that you go around. You don't try to climb it next to the waterfall. You go backtrack and then go all the way up, high up into the valley, and then go over and around. I think it was last year, there were 2 reporters that tried to get to a remote part of a valley in this area, and they disappeared. They were later found, both of them dead, sitting in a pool below a waterfall, and no one knows what happened to them, but I'm pretty sure I know what happened to them. I think that they encountered what I encounter all the time, which is you're climbing up the valley and you come to a waterfall, and it's like, well, how are you going to get around this? And you look up and there's like, I can make it up there, and you think you can scramble up that thing, and I'm pretty sure that they tried to do that, and the guy at the lead slipped and fell back, hit the guy in the back, and they both tumbled down to their death, and they're found in the pool below. So you don't want to climb, and I've said this in past videos, you don't want to climb around the near edge of these waterfalls, these cliffs. It's a death wish. You have to go way, way back and go around. So that's one option to me, and I tried that this weekend. And the approach point would have been at least 2 kilometers from the big falls. And I didn't get a quarter of a kilometer before I reached a serious, massive waterfall, and tried to go around it, but the route around, like I said, is precipitous, and I couldn't get around. So that leaves me with two more options. One is to go up to where the saddleback hits the valley, where that valley reaches the saddleback, and then try to come back down. But I'll run into the same problem. I'll run into more waterfalls. I'll have to go around them in a downward fashion. I hate going down waterfalls. I'd much rather go up waterfalls. That leaves me with a third, and I'll try that. Oh, there goes a bullet train. That leaves me with a third option, and which is to position myself opposite the waterfall on the far valley, and then do what I like to do best, which is bushwhack. Leave the main road and bushwhack straight down through the valley to try and approach the valley, and then try to find a path, try to find a route down. Now my concern is, though, that this side of the far side of the valley is going to be, my side of the valley is going to be the same as the valley I see across the way. You're going to go down a pretty steep slope and then suddenly find yourself at the edge of a large cliff, which I won't be able to get down unless I can find a route down. I used to do that in the Painted Desert in New Mexico. I used to hike a lot out there, and I got pretty good at finding. Same thing. You'd go along and you'd find yourself, but these would be hanging gardens. They'd be edge and you'd waterfall, and there'd be cavity back, a concave area below. I used to be able to find my way with careful work, find my way down into the valleys, and had some amazing experiences in those years. Oh, talk about silence! I would be all alone and hike across one mesa to find my way up one valley. I always wanted to get to places where there were no people, and go across the mesa and find another valley that was inaccessible by otherwise, and find my way down in the utter silence. It was so quiet out there, you could hear a ringing in your ears, bzzz, a little buzzing sound, and I could never figure out what that buzzing was, that little sound that I would hear in my ears. And I talked to a professor of mine that was a field herpetologist, and he told me he'd experienced it himself. He knew what it was. It was the sound of your blood vessels, the blood bumping against the vessels, the individual blood cells bumping against the vessels in your ear, making that sound. It was so silent that you could hear the blood in your ears. I've gone way off on a tangent. I'll never experience that here in Japan. There's just too much noise of nature out there. So anyway, that's my task. For the next couple of weeks, I need to try and reconnoiter the route up there, and try to find my way to this waterfall. Hopefully I'll get a good video out of this, and hopefully I'll find a very, very remote and inaccessible place in an area that is actually not too far from Shizuoka. Wouldn't that be great? Well, I hope you all have a great day. It's almost time for me to start my day of work. You can bet, though, that I'll be saving spare CPU cycles up here for thoughts of the great outdoors. Bye-bye, everybody.